Today we've got a lot planned, the main subject being it's this thing's 100th birthday, so we've got a big celebration today, celebrating 56's 100th birthday alongside Lawley reopening and the Tram re-entering service. So there's a lot going on today with the brass band playing, and Peter Waterman is potentially visiting us, so it should be a very interesting day.
We're about to start the official 100th birthday celebrations with it. Been polished up nicely by the team this morning. All seems to be working well with it, so we're looking forward to a good day and plenty of passengers.
Well, I've come because this is one of the railways I have never visited. When I was invited to the birthday party of the Class 66, I thought, well, it'd be a great opportunity to see what it's all about. I didn't even realise I'd travelled on this line, which I did back in the 50s twice, to Much Wenlock, because Much Wenlock was a fabulous little line to Craven Arms. So I've come down and I'm really, really impressed. So it's 100 years since this engine was built, nearly as old as me, but not quite. I've got one of these engines and they are probably, if we'd have had the foresight back in the 60s when they would do these are the engines that really are perfect for preserved lines, because they got so much power, because of course they were designed for the Welsh coal trade and they replaced the Welsh engines. They're a lovely engine, and this one, and it's in my favourite black. You can only have engines in one colour. They've got to be black. Green, a bit fussy. So happy birthday. We all can now go on the train and have some fun. Over to you, driver.
Telford Steam Railway has owned 5619 for over 50 of those 100 years, so we actually have owned it more than Great Western Railway and British Railways combined. And it was never meant to last that long, and it's just absolutely fantastic and a testimony to the volunteers that we have here at the railway that we can keep it going, and it is steaming in its 100th year.
You stand on the footplate of a steam engine, and these are all my model railway enthusiasts who, who now everything's got to have sound and whistles and lights, and they go, you ain't got sound on your steam, Pete. I go, no, because I'm on the real thing. And it's like, I still get tingle. When you open that regulator coming up the bank, it's just the bark is fantastic. I mean, that takes me back to the 40s, that's what got me hooked on railways.
We're rededicating the platform up on Lawley, so it's taken us a few years to rebuild the platform after it shifted forward, which meant we couldn't get the trains into the platform. Since then, all the houses at Lawley have been built around the station, so we wanted to welcome the Lawley residents to come and have a day of free travel on the railway and see what we're about and what we've got to offer.
I'd like to tell you a little story for the younger members. The older members will know exactly what I'm talking about, but going back into the 50s, there was a bus company called the Midland Red, and they used to run on a Sunday a cheap bus service. You could go anywhere in the West Midlands if you were under 14 for £5 bob. And that £5 bob was the best £5 bob I ever spent, because you could get to Wellington, you could get to Hereford, you got everywhere for £5 bob. And I remember I always wanted to go to Much Wenlock, because I've seen lots of pictures in the magazines of steam engines at Much Wenlock. So I actually travelled this line twice in the 50s and early 60s. I never thought here we'd be in 2025 and I'll be standing on a station nearly 80 years old telling you a story about being on the Midland Red buses. But this is amazing. I started in preservation in the late 60s, and it's very much like you see here. Little shelter put up in a field. We'd never thought that the whole preservation movement would do what it has done. This will become part of the community, and it will build the community, because that's what rural railways do. They open up things for people, and I think this is fantastic. You've got new houses and you've got this land, but you've got a bunch of enthusiasts who want to make it work. And if the public want to make it work, it will work. So I'm going to open this pagoda, it's called actually. Please use it, and the best of luck to you all in the future. Look at that. Thank you for coming. Please support the railway.
This one, okay, and this one's the medium-sized one. Fabulous.
Very important to us that Lawley is back open. As I say, it gives us a station at both ends of the line. Also, there's so many houses that have been built up at Lawley. It was only right that we have a station there that the residents can get on and enjoy our line right close to their homes. So absolutely fantastic. The volunteers again have worked very hard there to get that platform back in use.
The tram has been on demonstration runs up and down the line, so we can get customers excited about the return of the steam tram in a few weeks' time. We've had some positive feedback and loads of interest, which is really good and exciting.
Tram has been out of action for 6 years. It's very, very popular with the visitors and our customers. It needed a complete overhaul and restoration, including the purchase of a new boiler. There's always a worry when things go out of operation that they might never go back into operation again. Young volunteers have worked so hard on this that it's a real testimony to the volunteers that we've got that going, and I just can't wait for it to be running and giving passenger journeys in the near future.
One thing that I'm impressed with is it's right at the very beginning of its life. This is what it was like when I first went to the Valley and first went to the Great Central. Loads of ambition, no money, couldn't have dreamt of becoming what they are today. I look at this and I see the community, particularly here. I mean, it's just nice to see that when all these other railways probably are getting too big and probably have changed what they started out for, to go back and see preservation as it should be, and that's trying to, with volunteers, not with paid staff, who are doing it because they want to do it.
Well, it was absolutely fantastic having Pete as our VIP guest. Lovely man, genuinely interested in all that we're doing. Obviously he likes his railways and stuff, but just a pleasure to have. Was very easy going, happy to take photographs, happy to speak to people, sign autographs, and a real nice guy. So a real privilege to have him with us at the railway.